All right, and we are live. What is going on, my specialist SPC here, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Talkalorian Live. Ren and Andy are here again, man, and woo, man, my fiance wasn't sleeping, man. I would woo as loud as I could. Man, it was such a great episode. Oh my lord, I will say this, man. Between all three of us, this is the most I've geeked out in an episode of The Mandalorian thus far.
Yeah, I was out late, and I'm borrowing my friend's Disney Plus. He borrows my HBO Max password. I borrow his Disney Plus password, and I'm like, he texts me. He's like, dude, this thing was. I mean, I'm gonna censor myself here, but this thing was like freaking incredible. And I was like out till like 1 a.m. just doing stuff, and I get back and I'm like, I'll watch it in the morning. Oh, it's only like 30 minutes. Let's go. So,
yeah, man, because like, I don't even know where to begin. It's so good. It was such a great episode.
I agree. I actually thought of you, Austin, because I remember us talking that we're not the biggest fans of Boba Fett. Like, he's cool, he's all right, and seeing this episode, I'm like, every Boba Fett fan has just been validated in canon because he's a again, censoring myself as well, and a freaking badass in this episode.
But dude, I mean, and we're like, are we in full spoiler territory or like we're just peppering it? Okay, just making sure. Yeah, I mean, I legitimately was of the school of thought that he was either going to show up in the second to last or last episode, maybe. I don't know, but I also thought more so he might just be a cameo. You know, like they'll just show him in that first episode and then we were good. Like, because even that, I feel, fulfilled his role in the series because it was like he's still alive. Okay, sweet. But this,
man. I mean, like, because I remember, I think it was Bren. I think you sent me and Andy a message earlier this week about how Slave One was supposed to be in here, and I was like, oh. And I'm sitting there watching, and then I hear a ship, and all of a sudden I look up, and there's the Slave One. I'm like, what? And
Here it is.
And then out comes Boba, but obviously you can't see. And
gosh,
I gotta say, obviously, like Ren just said, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Boba, but this, like you said, man, this validated everybody's reason why Boba Fett is just an awesome character. I loved Boba Fett this episode.
This was also the most like kind of, I mean, obviously it's like a PG-13, TV-14 show, so there's not going to be blood, but this was like the most brutal, violent episode. Because, I mean, Boba is just decimated, not just like shooting people like Fennec is, but decimating people. I mean.
Yeah. I'm with you, like when he starts brandishing that weapon, which when you look at that weapon, I'm like, that's a really cool weapon. It's a very simple design, very even awkward design. But when you see how he hits his opponents with it, it's very, very effective and just smashing helmets left and right. And then, when he puts on the armor and he comes in, just that scene is incredible. The camera panning up, and there he is. Pow!
Not just that, but so, you know, we were talking about that. My brother knows more about this because he studies all forms of martial arts. But like what's not really like talked about is like kind of quote unquote like Western martial arts, I guess you would go, or like we'll call it like Anglo-Saxon martial arts. So like in Europe and like knights. You know, so a common method in knights is like when you see like great swords and they have like the hilt on them, like they like flip them upside down and use them to puncture armor. You know, so like when he was using that, it was like the mace was literally designed to pierce armor because it has like the spike jutting out of it. So I was like, oh man, that's an incredible freaking weapon. You know, it's a mace and it's a. And hey, Connor, how's it going?
And we have Connor Stork here. Hello, and he's got an unpopular opinion here, guys.
Oh,
he thinks this action is the best action in all of Star Wars.
Ooh,
all of Star Wars. Wow,
nice.
God. It's great action.
It was really good action, dude. And with how effective Boba was with the weapon in that episode, I wonder if it's the possibility he could get the Darksaber from Moff Gideon.
I'm just glad, you know, like, I mean, it was kind of obvious he was going to get it, but I'm glad Mando got the spear. So, you know, the staff, I guess. So I still think he's going to be the one to face off against Moff Gideon. But I think, he might relinquish the dark saber to Boba. That's a good point, Connor.
Yeah, that's a good possibility. I was honestly convinced that maybe Boba was working with Moff Gideon for a minute, but then all of a sudden I see him start shooting up and fighting all the stormtroopers everywhere. I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Even Fennec returning. Yeah, that one, everybody called it back in Chapter 5, the Gunslinger, that is Boba Fett. I was clueless. And all of a sudden they show her, and I owe my life to Boba. Open her up. She's all just mechanical inside.
Gosh. Man, I did not see that one coming. I guess her reappearing in this episode teamed up with Boba, of all things. That was... And also, it shows how effective Boba is because he tracked down, Mando. So that was impressive.
Yeah, since Tatooine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, he's got a reputation to maintain. So as a bounty hunter, he does very well in tracking him down all the way from Tatooine.
But it was also the most opportune moment. Baby Yoda's not with him, so he doesn't have force protection. He's off his guard because now he's got Baby Yoda's in range for Fennec to strike. I mean, gosh, so good.
Yeah, man. I mean, even with Tamora Morrison's acting, dude, I'm gonna say this is the best acting he's done since he's been in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. If you were going to say his whole career, I was going to raise something else, but I agree with you.
Well,
I know, man. Aquaman was his best performance. Come on.
I really like him in Aquaman, but that wasn't the one I was going to bring up. He plays the Doctore in Spartacus: Gods of the Arena, the prequel series.
Whoa.
That is my favorite show of all time. So his best performance is in that for me.
Even to Andy, I actually thought about you for this one. He actually,
thank you.
You're welcome, buddy. But he brought up Jango Fett. We now have a little more of a backstory about Jango. He was also a foundling. He was taken in by the Mandalorians.
Yeah, well, the fact that he was a foundling, that was a big revelation to me because it adds that to I guess I didn't realize whether the foundlings were old canon, so I didn't know if if they were if they were created for just the children of the Watch, or whether or not they were just a traditional Mandalorian thing. So that was also cool to learn, or maybe for me at least.
Yeah, and man, I mean the child in this episode, Grogu. I'm still not used to calling him Grogu yet, but. And I got to admit, I liked him a lot in this episode, even though he really didn't do too much. And I definitely want to talk about that ending scene with him because
my heart,
dude. You all right, Ren?
I'm good. I just want to say Giancarlo Esposito is the most hated man on the internet for this weekend. Until next week, actually. Till next week, he's the most hated man on the internet.
Oh yeah, but at the same time, I like him in this episode because we get, because Gus Fring in Breaking Bad, you only get his emotion as a villain right at the end when he gets blown up. You know what I mean? Which is him realizing it's game over. But Esposito in this episode was incredible because he's kind of gleeful. He realized he got what he wanted, and he's becoming less of this static villain and more there's more of a fervor, there's more of a joy, and it's honestly scarier because at parts it's almost like he's trying to conceal his smile a little bit, but he's still and maintain control, but he's still smiling because it feels like he's excited that he gets to deliver to, I guess, Thrawn or whoever he's serving. So.
Yes. Whenever you bring that name up, I'm gonna glee as well, like him. I'm gonna be proud of having that name coming around.
Oh gosh, man.
Yeah, man. Just him connecting to the Force right away. Just him just sitting there with his hands like this. Man, he was up there for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I wonder who he got in contact to, because I thought about how it felt. This was very reactionary, by the way. I don't feel this way anymore. But at first I was like, oh, we didn't see a Jedi contacting him. That feels like a very wrong story choice. But then I thought this was all Mando's perspective, man. We didn't see
Yeah.
anything from up until this point. We haven't seen anything from Grogu's perspective.
Mhm.
So I wonder if he's gonna get help while inside that cell, or maybe even not help to escape, but just the communication is going to come in. Which was also awesome to see him just kick Stormtrooper ass when Moff Gideon came in. I started laughing so much.
I did too. I was pretty giddy.
I was just thankful he didn't like kill him, because I was like legitimately afraid he was gonna. But
yeah,
I was, part of me was like, why didn't he like just take out Moff Gideon? And then I realized like Moff Gideon's literally just waiting for him to tire himself out. So
yeah.
I kind of wonder if that's why he had guards on him in the first place. You know, as he kind of knew.
I mean, when we first went to the ship, actually, when they said we got the asset is in, and then Moff started going down the halls, I was like, is he going to make a communication? Is he going to contact Thrawn? Is Thrawn going to show up? What is going on?
Gosh, I did think Thrawn. I legitimately thought Thrawn was going to be cameoed in this episode. I thought he was going to be like a hollow head, or like we're going to see the back of his head but not his face, or like hear his voice, like, and not know who it was. I mean, I was sure he was going to be in this episode in some way, but I can wait.
Yeah. Just a holocron, but then the head gets cut off in the shot, and we just focus on the insignia. That was woo.
Well, man, that's almost similar to like a Star Wars story. Like after Han goes down and Kira opens up the hologram, and like I seriously thought it was Palpatine. And then all of a sudden you see the helmet.
Me too.
Would come off, and it's like, one man could not have done this alone. I'm like, Mom, why are you here? What's going on?
I was like you, and I had a friend sitting next to me that's like, isn't Darth Maul dead? I'm like, you haven't seen Clone Wars, have you?
Dude, that is.
You must.
That's why I'm realizing I need to, especially after talking to y'all and talking to another friend who's way more into Star Wars than my buddy Michael. He gave me like some better backfill on the prequels, kind of like y'all have defended them a little bit. And it's like, yeah, okay, I need to rewatch these, especially after watching some of Clone Wars and realizing I need to have more dots connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, those, in a weird way, they're like the good fillers in between each of the films. And it just drives the story so good. So good.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. I mean, I gotta go back and talk about Boba. I mean,
of course.
It's so weird how when we started this, even when we were talking about, just on my podcast, we were just talking about The Mandalorian, how I'm not really excited for Boba to be in here.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they've done with Boba, I've been so excited. It's been just such an enjoyable time watching him. Even to Connor here, I didn't even realize this, but another callback to the prequels, takes his father's sign here.
Yeah.
I'm a simple man trying to make my way in the galaxy.
That's true. That's true. I think you and me, Austin, are in this very interesting position where yes, we're liking, so far at least, everything they're doing with Boba, because we're in this position where we're not fans of Boba, but we kind of want to be. We want to understand why the rest of the world that loves him. So we kind of in this position where, okay, give me Boba and I will like Boba.
And I think that's the nice part about The Mandalorian is I feel like, and once again, I got to rewatch everything. I feel like we didn't get to see the full lethality of Mandalorians in the original trilogies. Like we got to see some hints at it. They're still very effective bounty hunters, but at the same time, he also gets thrown into a Sarlacc. So I mean, seeing every Mandalorian in this series has been in some way like just very effective at killing people, at hunting people down, at defending a city. Like everything has been just a joy to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Also, Andy, for more lethal Mandalorians, I'm going to say the same thing me and Austin always say: Clone Wars.
Yeah, well, not just Clone Wars, but me and Michael. I realized we had like youth group on Thursday. We had youth group on Thursday, and then of course after all the kids get dropped off, his wife is like still out. I forget, and he's like, well, want to just chill and have beer or whatever? And I was like, yeah, sure. And we got to talking about The Mandalorian, and we just started like what it led to. Like I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen Rebels, and he's like, me neither. It looks kind of like childish. And then I realized I was getting Rebels. Don't get me wrong, Rebels definitely looks like it's still targeted towards like young adults and children a little bit, but I was mixing it up with The Resistance. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. So I watched the first episode of Rebels. I liked it. I thought it did like a good setup for obviously I need to watch more, but I liked it way more than I expected. The voice acting is great. Like the action is it's the first episode, so the action's a little choppy, but still better than I expected, for 3D animation. And the ships and armor are incredible, in that series.
I will tell you this, Andy, as much as a fan of Rebels that I am, I think the first season is just okay. So it literally only gets better.
Okay.
Because compared to the second, third, and fourth season, the first season is just this is adults can watch it and enjoy it, but it is for kids. There's a target audience there, and the other ones it's much more universal.
And that's definitely because it got. I hate to use the term Disney-fied, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was after the Disney acquisition, so it's going to be targeted more towards kids, and that's not a bad thing. It's like Avatar: The Last Airbender was definitely, it was on Nickelodeon, but adults can watch it and glean so much meaning out of it. I think that's what I definitely hope. So, or was expecting.
Jedi Master Daniel, I'm telling people to watch Clone Wars and Rebels. I feel like to really truly understand Star Wars, or even right now, just
connect the dots. Yeah,
exactly, to help connect the dots. It'll just, for just casual fans of this show, I think it'll make them really love the show just even more.
Yeah, I'm with you, because they did very well actually in not doing this convergence of everything Star Wars in the first season, because a lot of people are watching Mandalorian without, I don't want to say without watching the rest, but without caring to pay attention to every single thing. But now they're getting into the universe. I feel now is the time. Okay, you like the Mandalorian? This is connecting from another show. Don't you want to watch the other show? And I think that it will at least make people curious and have them give the chance to those other shows. Even let's say if Andy started Rebels and he didn't like it, at least Mandalorian got him to be like, oh, I should probably at least try and check out Rebels.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, to Jedi Master Daniel's point, y'all have been telling me to watch the show. Y'all have been telling people to watch the show. We've been talking about it. So yeah, that's great.
But I also feel that episode by episode, it also makes us who are recommending the shows look like crazy, Austin, because up until episode 5, you're like, Andy, you gotta watch Clone Wars. Don't worry about Rebels, just Clone Wars. And then episode 5 comes, and Andy, you gotta watch Rebels. It's urgent that you watch Rebels. At Rebels right now, binge it.
Oh gosh, there's so much I need to catch up on, but yes. Rebels, I need to go through all of Clone Wars. I just found out, and I was ticked off to learn this. I just found out that I forget what the term is, but that the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars that I keep bringing up, the 2D animated one, just found out that's non-canon. Legends. It's part of the Legends canon, which ticks me off because either way, I've got Clone Wars the actual Clone Wars to catch up on. So that'll do.
That'll do, pig.
That'll do.
Yeah, man. I just, like I said, man, I don't know where to keep talking about because okay, Ren. So last week you asked a very important question to me and Andy. Are we ready to admit that this season is better than the first one?
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I said I'll wait till the finale, but this episode I changed my mind. It's wow. This episode was just so good. I'm not gonna lie, man. This is probably my second favorite episode of the entire series. So
I can give you that. I will absolutely give you that.
I also really and I gotta tell you, I'm not a fan generally of Robert Rodriguez. So as soon as the action started, I'm like, this is a Robert Rodriguez directed episode, isn't it? And I really liked the episode. And then the credits came, and sure thing, Robert Rodriguez. I'm like, that's kudos to you, sir. Kudos. Because not a fan of his work in general, but the action is so much his staple. Fast pace, shoot 'em up, action, visceral, brutal, with Boba Fett just smashing stormtroopers left and right. The bombs, the reference to Indiana Jones and the Raiders with the rock going down. Just real fast paced. It's like the Bo-Katan episode. It's one of those that we're all three of us and even other friends of mine that go comment on my reviews were always like, I want longer episodes. But this episode in the Bo-Katan one proved that maybe that could have been 10 more minutes to this episode, but this is one of those episodes that, like, yeah, it's only half an hour and it was great. I didn't miss another minute of it for what they gave me. And I think Rodriguez did a really, really great job. I'm curious who's directing next week still.
And that was my thing about this episode is, like, I forgot y'all had mentioned Rodriguez was directing it. And I was like, in the middle of the episode, I was like, this is great. Like, who's directing it? Then I realized I wanted to, like, wait till the end because I was like, I don't want my bias to shift. You know what I mean? I don't want to I don't know. But he did give us Spy Kids. So, you know, like I it makes sense that he could deliver on this. Just saying.
For sure.
I'm going to say this, man. This is probably at least the second or third best shot episode of the entire show so far. Like, I mean, we talked about it last week so heavily, how Dave Filoni with the Jedi, just so good. So good. Yeah. Cinematography, settings, everything. Even the setting here was very well done. Like, I actually enjoyed the different setting that we're not used to. We're used to being in little cities. We're used to being in jungles. We're used to being kind of in space, but this was completely different. Like, you literally felt kind of like we just brought up how it feels like Indiana Jones-ish.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was an open field, a clear planet, vegetation, but also a little dirt. But it was a very different environment than we're used to seeing in this show specifically.
Okay, so that I got to bring up. Did Ahsoka say this was like a temple in the last episode? Like
the ruins of a temple.
Okay, never mind. Because I was like, when I saw it, I was like, I thought she said it's a temple, and if she did, this is the worst temple I've ever seen. Like,
I'm with you, but I'm also gonna admit I might have just rewatched that episode again on Thursday before the new one.
You just need an excuse to watch it again.
Yeah, exactly, an excuse like here, Thrawn again.
So I will say that about Austin. That's a great point. That is the second or third best shot episode. I know I kind of not complained, but I picked at like the lighting of the last episode of the Jedi. But I still think personally the Jedi was like the best shot episode to me. I think I'd have to rewatch it, but I think it's the best shot episode even with the lighting, like I said. But this is definitely like 2 or 3 for me. I was really impressed with how the first episode was shot though. So. Yeah, I don't know.
It's for me. I thought it was gonna be hard to top the first episode because, like I said before, it felt like you were watching a movie. But these directors, man, they're doing good. I mean, Carl Weathers, he did great on chapter
4.
12.
No, 12. Yeah.
Yep. 12.
Chapter 12, and then Filoni with chapter 13.
13.
My numbers are hard today. I don't know why. Then chapter 14 with Robert Rodriguez. I mean, it was. I can't believe how almost again movie quality these episodes are becoming each and every week.
Yeah, and I mean, I love that we get to see him use his jetpack again. I mean, we're gonna have to ride with the windows down for this part. So, man, it was just funny to watch him cradling baby Yoda as he just launches out of the ship. But man, once again, spares no expense. In the first episode, I thought they were gonna get rid of the jetpack as just kind of a cheap write-off, a cheap send-off, so they didn't have to spend on the special effects. But the fact that he still got it and is using it is really, really nice to see. Mm-hmm. Just from an effects standpoint. Didn't look cheesy to me. It looked great. And that's just a small thing I'm even mentioning.
Yeah, it was a great shot.
I felt like I was watching Iron Man.
Yeah.
There's another reference to Iron Man when Boba Fett throws the torpedo from his jetpack.
Oh, that was...
That was the same reference that was in the Cobb Vanth episode, too.
Exactly.
Really? Oh, yeah. Huh. Well, I also felt like a reference kind of to Iron Man, intentional or not, was the Dark Troopers.
Yes, you're right.
Was the landing. And I thought that was impressive because of how smart it was. When they just flip and start to turn on the just landing jets, so to speak. I was like, oh yeah, that's really awesome. It's not pure physics or whatever, but it's it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense that they would land like that. So it was really nice to watch minor details like that in a sense.
That's a perfect segue to the Dark Troopers, I think, Austin. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, I'd like to apologize that I guessed my theory wrong. I thought they were clones, but they're actually just droids. So I apologize to everybody.
Roger.
To be fair, and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, to be fair, even seeing droids, I was freaking out, like new droids. I was freaking out about because the cost of building a droid versus like having clones, is like my understanding is like clones are much cheaper to produce than like actual droids, which is why they're used so frequently in warfare. So having like lethal AI troopers was also really like, oh wow, so this dude's got a bankroll. Like this dude's got some cash to spend. Gosh.
They still look like Cylons to me. They even more now that we saw their faces up close. They're the Cylon troopers. That's what I'm calling them. I know in Star Wars they can't, but I'm calling them that.
I did enjoy how like robotic they looked though. That you can see the hydraulics in them. Like they looked like they were built. Because it's easy to like say something's a robot and make it kind of like C-3PO. Like, and I'm not taking a dig at C-3PO, but like where it's just a human in a robotic suit, so it's easy to get away with. But seeing them with like the pistons and the mechanics like behind them was like, oh yeah, these are for sure droids, and like that, they're not trying to like cheese their way around that. It was really just nice effect details.
I'm with you. I think it kind of makes them look scarier with that.
Yeah,
they are. They were pretty intimidating looking. I mean, I felt like we were looking at like Death Troopers mixed with like the super battle droids from episode 3.
Yeah, you got a point there for sure.
And let's see. I see Connor. Let's see. Well, I see there's a couple comments I see is that Jedi was like they're definitely building up to something. Oh heck yeah! And then Connor says, I hope Cobb Vanth returns in The Mandalorian. I really enjoyed his character.
I really do too. I mean, I'd like to see now like the interaction between him and Boba, like being like, yeah, you had this. It's like, no, I didn't. Yeah, man. Again, though, like going back to Boba, like his character was not anywhere near where I thought it was going to be when it came to the show. Because like the original trilogy set him as he's just there to do the job. He's there to just do whatever. But like this episode, man, he teams up with Mando, and him and Mando and wow, I forgot her name.
Fennec.
Fennec. That's what I wanted to say, like Fentrix, but that's not wasn't right. Yeah, no. Now the three of them are now a team, and they're trying to get another bounty hunter as well.
Oh yeah, that was Bill Burr's character, right? I forget Mayfield.
Yeah, Mayfield. Or Mayfield. But yeah, it's something along those lines. I like that too, and it wasn't a perception I had of Boba that he was. Yes, he's a bounty hunter, but I didn't perceive him as a man of honor. And like he says, if you give me the armor, I'll protect you and the child. So then he gets the armor and he says, oh, I'm not going to rest until he's back in your arms safe and sound. And I really enjoy that. I really enjoyed the layer that it creates for him. Like he's a dude who has honor him and he will honor this deal until the end. Maybe he dies for it. I think that'd be a waste. I don't want him to be a part of the show forever, but I think it'd be kind of a waste if you just bring him back, say to the fans, oh, he's not dead after all, and then just kill him. So I don't want that to happen. But I could see Fennec die when they go on this mission, and Bill Burr's character as well.
I don't want to see Fennec die just because I don't mind watching her like take off. Maybe her and Boba quote unquote ride into the sunset. Like I would kind of love it if like Boba finishes this mission and say like that's it. You know what I mean? Not like a one last mission, but like I reclaimed my family armor. That's what I wanted. Like that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. I wanted to lay it for rest and get it back for my family, for my clan's sake. So I would not mind seeing that, or even seeing him pop up in a later season. I don't know, so maybe even in a passive role.
Yeah,
I would like to see how like Boba and like Bo-Katan, how those two could like interact. Because I will say it, man. I'd love to see like a team of Mandalorians going up against the Empire at the end of the season.
Maybe we see it.
Well,
maybe we do see it.
When you think about it, for all we know, they're going to show back up, the Children of the Watch, because they're still out there. I mean, they're still out there. Yeah. So maybe he just puts out like a beacon and it's like whatever Mandalorian picks it up. And we saw them fight to protect, I forgot the name of the town, but we saw them fight to get him and the kid out of Dodge. So, it's like, yeah, they're going to ride or die. But if we're going to see him this season, I don't know.
We did get a kind of an appetizer for that in the last season. In episode 3, the first one directed by Deborah Chow, who's directing everything Obi-Wan, when Mando was running away from the town and all the Mandalorians come to his rescue against the Empire.
Yeah.
That was the first big moment in the first season where I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. So I wouldn't mind if he goes out and asks for help for Mandalorians and we get a scene like that where it's Mandalorians versus Empire.
Mm-hmm.
I would be okay with that, man.
I wonder, so there's an interesting note is that I feel like Boba having his helmet off, in a sense, kind of, I mean, I don't know. In a way, I feel like that kind of confirms what Bo-Katan said, and Sabine, right? Sabine in, in Rebels, how she takes her helmet off, and he's okay having his helmet. It, all the more confirms how cultish the Children of the Watch are to me. But,
I mean, I'm more curious too, is Mando meeting all these different bounty hunters?
Yeah.
Is that going to start convincing him more to have his helmet off a little more often than normal?
Depends on what direction they want to do, because that would involve Pedro Pascal being more days on set. Where he just does the voice, and when they apparently he was more under the suit this season than he was in season 1.
Nice.
I don't know how much more. Maybe we'll just find out after the season is over. But I would like to see it. It didn't bother me. I know the whole internet melted down when they found out, oh, he's just doing the voice. He was barely in the suit, and everyone was like, "What the hell? That's not." I don't care. But it would be fun to see him actually, quote unquote, play in this universe with his helmet off and interact with Grogu and the other characters.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm also the school of thought is I hate this idea of, but this can sound weird and bad, but I hate the idea of, because you see it in a lot of movies with big name actors, is I hate the idea of actors who are supposed to be masked in the role they're in, taking off their helmet or whatever. With the original Dredd movie, that was my problem that I had with Stallone, is he's got his helmet off all the time and judges aren't supposed to take off their helmets. So Carl Urban nailing that role and keeping his helmet on the entire time. But I mean, Carl Urban's also a massive comic book fan, so he was like, oh no, I'm keeping the helmet on because that's what Judge Dredd would do.
Yeah.
So it would feel a little disingenuous for him to be taking his helmet off or having it off for a while, unless there's a more nuanceful reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of season 1.
Yeah, I'm with you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, like I said, I'm starting to come around to Boba, at least for this season. How when I first started watching Clone Wars, I hated Ahsoka. I mean,
really?
Dude,
yeah. If you watch the movie before the show, the Clone Wars movie, it's oh, screw you, to censor myself. Screw you, whoever you are. I'll never like you. And now she's one of my favorite characters.
And that's also just good character development, especially since she's a hot-headed Padawan, and then you just see her develop throughout the series. I mean, I only watch kind of the beginning, then the end, based on me making a mistake with the episode order. But but yeah, just seeing the difference between her in the last 2 episodes of season 1 versus her in the last 2 episodes of the final season was oh wow, this is a different character. I mean, much more mature, but still just
for sure
different. Her letting Darth Maul go was so huge. I was like, wow, she understands what's at stake versus preservation of life like a Jedi should do versus wanting revenge and loathing someone. So
man, for me, watching her in the first in the movie, that's the first thing I watched. She just reminded me too much of episode 2 Anakin just the way that she was acting and the way she just talked. I'm like, please stop. And finally, like about season 4, she started getting way better. She was a lot more enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
And then you get to Rebels, and it's such a shift from how she was. And then, of course, obviously, we've now seen her in The Mandalorian, how she is there. Like I said, she seems more wise, more Yoda-ish in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
And even, again, man, them last 4 episodes of Clone Wars, like, those are, like, the best episodes with Ahsoka. Period.
Yeah. Apart from this Rebel Season 2 finale, I'll say, in my opinion.
Yep. That's... Andy, I think you'll like season 2 a lot of Rebels, especially that last episode. That's hands down probably the best episode of Rebels.
Yeah, it takes turns,
and that's my that's my thing about like just as like kind of a departure or like whatever is like that's I think my main problem with like 3D animated shows, is that like for anime and 2D animation, usually people will like kind of go a little bit more full send, like so to speak, like whenever they animate like season 1s, even with like anime that don't get renewed, you'll see them like are still like pretty well crafted. Like if you watch the first season of Demon Slayer, which was really popular, like it's incredible to watch this season. The episode 19 fight scene is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. But I feel like with 3D animation, it can be costlier, so people like play it safe when they do like a first season. So.
Not in Rebels. Not in Rebels. Yeah.
All right.
And in Clone Wars, to be fair, in Clone Wars 2, especially in the last season, but Rebels, since this is the one I'm most emotionally attached to, I remember them more vividly. So yeah, you won't be disappointed on those fight scenes.
All right. Okay, I'm down with that. Man.
So guys, unfortunately, we also have to talk about what is now the name of this episode.
No!
The second half of this episode. The tragedy.
Yeah.
Ren, I know you were extremely heartbroken, man, because I watched your review and I saw how upset you were. So, unfortunately, man, I got to let you start this.
Okay, I'm going to start because as soon as that title came on, I was like, oh, fudge. Something's going to happen. Who dies? Does it die? And then I actually quickly caught onto it. I mean, he doesn't have to die. They just need to be separated. And I did mention this in my review, but I felt like it was very much a script issue that, okay, Mando has to go very far away now and leave Baby Yoda alone on that temple as he's communicating with the Force. And I just didn't feel that was the correct thing to do, but I gave it a pass until he lets go of the jetpack when he's bargaining with Boba Fett.
Oh, yeah.
And then he doesn't put it back on. And so, of course, he's just 1 second too late for them to take Baby Yoda. But every single part of this episode, on the third act of the episode, let's say, it hurt. It hurt to watch as he was being taken away. They weren't worrying about having him be comfortable on their arms, the Dark Troopers. I thought it was just so cute when he stops communicating with the Force. He's literally like this with his eyes closed, and then he just falls asleep, and it's the cutest thing. There's a moment before he starts his connection with the Force where he notices the blue butterfly. And for those of us who have read the comics, only one other character has like been quote unquote attracted to the blue butterflies, and that is Kylo Ren. So I thought that was a very interesting decision. Some people said that Kylo's theme was playing in that moment, and I wanted to watch just that moment, and I'm like, no, it's not. But nevertheless, the character connection I feel is there. But yes, a very heartbreaking episode. Very, it increased the number of heartbeats per second on my end because I was just very worried, and I hope a Jedi comes to his rescue. I hope a voice in the next episode says hello there. And yeah, just Oh, no, I actually haven't gone back to watch this one because of what happens, not because I didn't like it, but just very, very heavy. Um, so just had me suffering, man. This episode had me suffering. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, this was. I mean, in a weird way, it was like a darker-ish episode.
Oh yeah.
Like we said, the violence with Boba on there, and the Razor Crest, man, it's gone.
Oh yeah,
that broke. I don't know why that broke my heart. Like
the real tragedy.
Yeah, like I saw the beam coming down. I was like, "What the heck is that?" And then all of a sudden, just you look down at the crest, and it blows. I'm like, like my mouth was like wide open for like a good 5 minutes. It was the same reaction I got when Kylo killed Han. Like my jaw was just gone. Like,
I would actually my reaction to Kylo killing Han, I would actually compare to Baby Yoda, because that scene on when Kylo kills Han is very properly set up. The pieces of the puzzle are all there. So the first time you watch him, like, he's gonna die, boom, he dies. I didn't suffer any less for knowing that it was coming. But I think why this episode works really well is because from the get-go you have that threat, you have the tragedy. So you're like, okay, something's bad is going to happen, and it's not going to be a tragedy for Moff Gideon. I'm sure of it, So I think that's why it really, really works, because it's properly set up, and then the pieces are building and whatnot, and boom, you have that payoff. And again, we've talked about screenwriting, especially in episode 4 on this podcast before, but this one again reminded me of, I can't remember, honestly, you said it, but there was someone that was talking about screenwriting that once said, a good writer makes you love a character, makes you love his characters or her characters. A great writer makes you suffer for it. And I think Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are making us suffer for it, and I love them for that, even though I am suffering. So bring him back.
I think that was probably you, Austin, because I know that you study, you got to be more familiar with screenwriting than me, like, because I'll definitely give you that, where like a good writer will connect you and give you that investment. But
actually no, it was I think it was the episode you and me did with Sean. I think Sean said that.
Oh,
that sounds like something he would have said.
Absolutely. Okay, that I can see.
Unless I'm just getting that old and I just seriously don't remember saying that.
But Sean and I have read all the same books, not all. I'm sure not all, but we've read some of the same books because I studied screenwriting. I have a master's in film. So and Sean explored screenwriting to get into the YouTube thing and film criticism. So we had a lot of common reads. So I'm sure we've caught it in some book that we both read. I just can't remember where I read it.
I mean, granted though, it's very true though. I mean, again, they did it in this episode, and they've done it in previous episodes. They've done it in the films. I mean, so good.
Yeah.
Man. And, Andy, kind of got to get back to a point that you brought up with the child being captured for Moff Gideon. Like how, like, after he activates the Darksaber and Baby Yoda's just kind of staring at it and trying to touch it. He's like, "You want this?"
Yeah.
What a D-bag that was.
Yeah. I'm sitting there like, you jerk, don't tease him like that. Because immediately now I thought of, oh man, what if like Gideon's there and he just like uses the Force and grabs him and just pulls a Kylo.
What if it's not too late? He can certainly do it next episode.
I mean, and to be fair, there's been a lot of allusions to the child kind of being a little ambiguous in terms of the morality in terms of using the Force, like between being a Jedi and a Sith. Not necessarily that it's not good, right? But that there's a little bit there's less stable emotions, So we've seen him Force choke multiple people. We've seen him like use his Force more kind of like offensively. Even when he picks up the Mudhorn, like he picks it up rather than like just halting it or like, I don't know, putting it to sleep. So he's got less control, but like definitely a lot of power behind it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things of the show, and why they made him a baby and not just a kid. Because when you're born, you aren't born with a moral compass. You don't know what is right or wrong. You have to be taught that. So I like that dichotomy. Like, he does good things, he does less good things, but he's not doing it out of malice. Because at this point, he just doesn't know what is good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, his memories are very dark when it comes to his time at the temple, and even in the middle of all that. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. And very soon we'll probably find out more, because he's supposed to be in the Bad Batch show that's coming out next year.
Oh, did not know that.
He's rumored so far. Like, it's not a sure thing, as far as I know, at least. Something that I'm not sure I like, but curious. I'll say I'm curious.
Yeah, that's been my thing lately when it comes to, at least with Star Wars. Like, again, with Boba and Ahsoka and Bo-Katan being in there, I was more interested and curious than I was excited. And then when I finally got served my dinner plate and I saw what it looked like, and I got so excited. After eating it, man, I want more. I want more
ice
Boba.
Cream.
Well, I mean, that's maybe part of the nice thing about not having seen Rebels and not having seen all of Clone Wars, is that I don't have an immediate bias towards seeing some of these characters in, because it's like when you hype something up too much. It's like No Man's Sky when it came. It was like once you set the hype too high, you can't reach it, or it's exceedingly hard. The higher the hype, the more exceedingly hard it is. I don't know, to hit that mark. So when you advertise characters like Ahsoka, I'm familiar with her, so I'm excited, but I'm not like overwhelmingly so. I'm like, oh, this will be cool to see her in this episode.
Yeah. And that's understandable. I feel like that's the safest way. I feel like letting the fan in you get too excited kind of actually hurts you. That's why, like, even for whenever I go see a film and I'll have to do a review afterwards, I'm like, expectations at the door, good or bad. It's a movie, so it starts to win or lose points from 0.
Well, I mean, one of the prime examples you can use even for that statement is seeing The Force Awakens, and then 2 years later going into The Last Jedi, having these high expectations, and for some people it wasn't met.
Yeah.
For some people it was.
And then even seeing The Rise of Skywalker, and having like little expectation, like honestly, because after The Last Jedi, I was like, I literally don't know where to gauge this. I still felt like let down. That's neither here nor there, but it was still like, it can go horribly awry still, even if you've got Abrams' return, or if you've got like a good foundation, whatever, like Ahsoka or like Thrawn or anything like that, it could still go horribly wrong. It could lean way too much into the series and like rely on those connections rather than incorporate them. So,
yeah. Even other films like I can use, for example, like Terminator Dark Fate. I mean, a direct sequel to T2, and I'm mixed on it. I'm like in the middle. I didn't think it was bad, but I felt like it was kind of unnecessary to an extent.
I really like it.
Really?
Yeah. That and Genesis. I really like Genesis, man.
I have not seen Genesis.
That is a super unpopular opinion, I know. And I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it's even in the same league as the original 2 films, don't get me wrong. But when I saw Genesis, I was like, why doesn't everybody like this? It's good. I do have a big issue with that film.
It's hot trash to me. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. You don't have to apologize. You're in the majority, and it's subjective.
I don't like any of the stuff they do in it. I like the actors as actors, but I don't like the characters they're playing. Like, for me, man, Emilia Clarke, she does not fit at Sarah Connor. And I'm also going to say this, man, this is the worst acting from Arnold in any of the films. Like,
how dare you? How dare you tell me like this?
Man, like when he turned around, he did that. I'm like, stop. What are you doing? You need a monotone, straight face. You stop it right now.
I like it, man.
No,
I'll tell you this: the movie, even for me who likes it, it gets significantly worse It gets significantly worse when John Connor comes in, and they made a very obviously this is not going to work in any single way decision midway through that film, without spoiling it for Andy, because like in the movie I want him to see it.
Okay, fair enough.
Man, yeah. I have the unpopular opinion too. My second favorite Terminator film is Terminator 3.
I can give you that. Wait, okay, there's 6 Terminators film, right? There's Genesis, T1 through 3, there's
Salvation,
Dark Fate, Salvation. That's the Christian Bale one. That's what I was thinking. There's 6 of them, right? Because I know that Sarah Connor, Sarah Connor Chronicles. I know that there's a TV show.
And it's great.
Okay.
Can we agree on that, Austin? Is it great?
Yes, sir. Okay. We can agree with that. That one's pretty enjoyable.
Fair enough.
I hate Rise of the Machines so much.
Oh, dude, I love it. Gosh, it's so fun.
Okay, 7.
The reason I have such a soft spot for that, man, is this is gonna sound weird and morbid, but it makes me think about death a lot. Like that ending, like 15 minutes of the film, I was like I literally like my heart starts going when I see it, because I sit there and think, I'm like, man, this could really happen. Like this is a possibility of something that could happen in the future. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd like to see, machines just take over and have them look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'd be okay with that, but like the missiles going off, I'm always like,
I feel that way, but not about Rise of the Machines. And the very ending, the very last scene kind of ruins it, but I feel that way throughout all of Salvation. Because Salvation is not in terms of quality, but it is a dreadful movie. You're just in dread throughout it. You're like, there's no hope. We've lost. And I like that sense that the movie creates, that you don't feel ever like you're winning or you're going to win. You're just, we lost. That's it. It's over. Throughout that film, you feel like it is over. I don't know what we're still doing here. As humanity, as a collective, we're doomed.
And that's what I kind of like about the Terminator series is, like, I feel people don't appreciate that it's kind of like an action sci-fi horror. A little bit, because the Terminators at the end of the day are like a movie monster. You know what I mean? Is like you don't know where they're going to be. You don't know if they disguise themselves in T2. Like when you got the liquid metal, the T1000 or whatever. I forget. So it feels like a movie monster, and that's what I like about it. Is when you have this thing that's going to creep up on you, or that will not stop until it kills you or is destroyed.
See, man, that's why I don't like Genesis, because for me, Genesis, it feels like they just tried to take everything that was so great about the previous 4 films and just mesh them into one, and it's like they just had a kindergartner come in and just spew glue wherever they could find the room to make it.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of how I felt about, and I know you liked it, Ren. That's how I felt a little bit about Dark Fate. You know what I mean? Is I don't feel like it. I watched it, and is like I enjoyed most of it. Like enjoyed it like Sean calls it like Taco Bell film or like popcorn film. Like I got out of it and I was like, okay, you know what? That movie exists. I didn't feel like I enjoyed what I saw, but I didn't feel strongly about my enjoyment. Just like, okay, I watched it and I enjoyed it, but I didn't feel like a strong sense of this contributed to the Terminator universe. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like there was as high of a stake as T1 through 3.
I agree. I agree with you. Even though I enjoyed it, I agree, except for the part where the stakes are higher than T3. That's for sure. That's for sure, Andy, because I hate T3. No, but no, I agree with you, and I still have a lot of issues with that film because I felt it was more of a transition movie than anything else. Yes, they want to do something new. But they're not doing something new in this movie. They're just doing a different version of what already exists. And if they do a second one after this, which after seeing the box office, they won't. And the hypothetical, let's say, second movie would be the completely different one. This is the different direction now. But I still really enjoyed because it gave me exactly what I wanted from a Terminator movie. You know. Yes, familiar in every regard, but I thought, as someone who likes Genesis, I thought it did an even better job at making the T800 funny, more in a more organic way. It felt more like, oh, this is what a robot who was trying to learn about humanity on his own for several years would think a human acts like. and I thought it was much more organic in Dark Fate. So yeah.
Well, and I mean that's the thing is in Dark Fate, like one thing I really did like is like kind of the pseudo subplot with Schwarzenegger's T-800, is like where it is, it's like, he killed because you had this branch reality sort of thing. I guess he didn't get recalled. He didn't get recalled. He had completed the mission, so he didn't have to kill anyone out. And he's an AI. He learns and adapts. So it's like, to an extent, it makes sense that he would learn to adapt to like fit in to humanity. Then to a point, it's like part of fitting in is like having a family, but then being emotional, like having empathy and trying to learn that as a robot. So I really like this kind of, he's still a Terminator, has weapons and stuff, but also like has simmered down, has mild out.
Yeah.
See, I can say that. I definitely like that about Dark Fate. Like that part was probably my most enjoyable part for me. Mm-hmm. That and even the new Terminator, I thought that was pretty cool and unique. The new Terminator or whatever she is, the girl, she is one of, in my opinion, the most emotionless actors I've ever watched on a movie ever. She literally says the same thing over and over. I have to protect you. It's like, yeah, you said that 15 times in the first 20 minutes we saw you. Just say something new. I have to protect you. I'm like, make it stop, please.
Oh man, I going back a little bit to what you said, Andy, about it being an action horror sci-fi about the robot who's not going to stop until he gets you. I hope that's how they portray Thrawn in the show, bringing it back to the Mandalorian.
And that's why I talked about Chapter 6. That's why I talked about Chapter 6 being one of my favorite episodes. Probably in a weird way, top 3, top 4. Like, I know that people are kind of lukewarm on that episode, it feels, but I know, like, I liked this kind of more horror aspect of seeing Mando, like, just with a vendetta. They try to screw him over. He's not stopping, but also without killing anyone. It was nice, like, it's the nice duality of him being an absolute terror and lethal, but also him, like, literally, it's like being able to, like, I don't know, touch someone without killing them, and then you reveal, oh, yeah, I could have killed you if I wanted to.
Yeah. By the way, supposedly that same director is coming back for next week's episode. He's the only person to come back from season 2, apart from Dave Filoni. It's him and Dave Filoni.
What episode did he direct from season 1? Filoni?
No. Filoni directed the 1st and the 5th, and the 6th one that you liked was directed by Rick Famuyiwa, who directed Dope.
Yeah, Dope was supposed to direct the Flash movie.
Yeah,
and
was one of the many people supposed to direct the Flash movie. That's more like it.
Yeah.
Is that movie even happening anymore?
In another timeline.
Sure.
Austin, not in this one.
Maybe we should talk about that as a slight plug. Maybe we should talk about that in your anniversary episode on Monday, December 7th, is the state of the DCEU. But
good one to bring up.
But yeah, I mean, I thought Rick
Famuyiwa.
Thank you, Famuyiwa. Like, I thought I'm going to say Rick F. I thought he did a great job with the episode. I really liked it. I would like to, but here's my problem. This is going to sound weird. I would like to see him return, but I feel like the 7th and 8th episode are not a time to take a gamble, like with a director. Like, because you got to close out strong. So I'm assuming they're going to follow suit, because now they've technically set up like a 3-part ending.
They gotta.
Yeah. So this is like part 1. 7 is presumably part 2, and then they're going to finish. So I feel like you have to have it kind of seamless, or have a strong director with a proven track record coming for 7 and 8.
In one way I agree with you, but there's another part of me that must raise the point that last year's like episode 6, 7, and 8 were also like a 2-parter, but they were directed by 2 different people.
Oh,
so there's that. Yeah, because episode 7 was directed by Deborah Chow, who again also directed episode 3 and is doing now the entirety of Obi-Wan, and then the finale was directed by Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, and I'd like to see Taika return. Is he returning? Oh no, you said he's the. Dang it!
I'm not sure as far as we know, because I feel like if Taika was returning, they would have announced him. They announced Peyton Reed, they announced Robert Rodriguez, they announced Rick. I feel like Jon Favreau is going to be the one directing the finale.
Yeah, because he's supposed to direct 2 episodes this season.
Yeah.
On Bryce Dallas Howard, she came back.
That's true. That's true. You're very right.
I keep forgetting she directed an episode. That's blowing my mind that she directed an episode. Like, not in a bad way, but you watch stuff like you watch stuff like Rocket Man, where she's just like completely, she's this like completely like abhorrent character or whatever, just like I just kind of loathe her as Elton John's mom, right? I'm thinking of the right actress, right?
Yes.
And then she comes and directs a Mandalorian episode, and it's awesome. And I'm just like, wow, like, did not see that coming. Yeah.
She directed the Bo-Katan episode, right?
She directed the Bo-Katan episode, yes.
Yeah, and killed it, but like still, it's just like impressive to me when people cross-pollinate or have that kind of skill set. It was really impressive.
She also directed my least favorite episode of the series. Well, I guess second least favorite now. I will say it, man. I wasn't a big fan of the Frog Lady episode, but yeah, she directed Chapter 4, Sanctuary.
Yeah, the one in the village with the T-Rex at
or AT-AT or
AT-ST, yes.
Okay. Well, I like that episode though. Like I'm not gonna. It's not my favorite, but I like this kind of confrontation. Like that, not confrontation, but like this crossroads Mando was at of setting it all down, wrestling with the kid, but also this, like I said, those like Western element. Like it was one of the most Western episodes in the series, where it's like, oh yeah, I can't do this. I have to protect this kid. He's gonna be hunted down for the rest of his life. It's a.
Yeah, that was literally the Magnificent Seven episode.
Yeah.
That's literally the plot of that movie, mixed with a little bit of Jurassic Park, because I loved how they portrayed the AT-ST as a T-Rex, as this, again, a monster that's coming in, and he has to defeat the monster.
Gosh. Man. Yeah.
Jurassic Park. It's my favorite film of all time.
Yeah.
Wait, I forget. We talked about favorite films at some point. I know yours, you said Jurassic Park just now. Ren, what was yours?
Mine is a very recent one. I get a lot of people looking at me sideways because they're like, no, I have a master's in film and I studied film, and I say Avengers Endgame is my favorite movie of all time.
That's fair.
They're like, what the hell?
That's a good one, though. It's a good one.
Thank you.
Should bring my fiance on so you guys can ask her questions.
No. Oh, I think mine is still going to be, off the top of my head, I'm going to go with Interstellar. Like,
nice.
I still freaking love that movie. It's just beautiful. Like, just the cinematography, the emotional weight in it is, like the emotional weight in it is beautiful, especially when he's watching these videos of his kids, like from decades later. It's just frightening to watch. Like, I know, because it legitimately makes you, Christopher Nolan's got a huge motif around the flow of time, right? So just watching this, like, abstract it even more is like, because you watch stuff like Inception, you watch stuff like Tenet, and it's like everything's kind of subjective, fluid, and reversible. You can go back in time. It's like nothing is permanent. But in Interstellar, it's set in stone. It's like time has passed. You cannot reverse it. Even if you go to the fourth dimension or whatever, you can only be a ghost. So
yeah,
it hits different.
That kind of reminds me of like the director's cut of Aliens, because like Ripley finds out that her daughter is like, because it's like 57 years or something after the first
something like that.
Yeah, like she finds out her daughter was an old woman and she's already dead. I'm playing through Alien Isolation right now. And,
nice.
So you're like living through her story of like trying to find out where her mom is, what happened, and all that. It's good. It's pretty good so far.
That's awesome.
Man. That also, to an extent, that also just like, kind of bring it back to the Mandalorian, like does legitimately still make me wonder if we are going to see the Children of the Watch in this season at all, or if they're just completely out of the picture. We talked about that earlier, but we got 2 episodes left, and I wonder if they're going to ride in, or if not, maybe Bo-Katan hopefully comes and helps them, but it's like, are we going to see more Mandalorians, or just like what's going to happen here? Like just straight up. I mean, I know we already talked about that earlier, but I'm still curious. Like Austin said, I'm still curious.
I would say there's a chance of us seeing like the ones we've seen already, the ones that were with Bo-Katan. I say that I'm not saying it's likely, but I can see it happening. But I don't think we have a much grander picture of Mandalorians, like of the Children of the Watch in this season at least.
Yeah, man. I mean, I still want to see at least some of the older Mandalorians from Episode 3. I want to see some of them come back. I'm still with Andy, man. I want that armorer to come back.
Yeah, thank you. One of my top 5 characters. I mean, number one's obviously Mando, but she's definitely in my top 5 characters of that series. I just love this kind of. I love like sage type characters. We never see her in combat, but she still maintains the lore. She still guides the the Children of the Watch. It's man, I just love that character. Was that Tilda Swinton, by the way? I forget.
No, it was a stunt woman under the suit, and then the voice is a voice actress that I can't remember the name of right now. But it's the voice itself is someone who doesn't do a lot of live action, as far as far as I can say.
Well, if you told me it was Tilda, I would not have been.
That would be awesome.
Like, I mean, she's already Phasma though. Like in the new trilogy, right? Is Captain Phasma or General?
No, that's Brienne of Tarth, Gwendolyn Christie.
Yeah. Really? I thought that was Tilda Swinton. Gosh dang it.
Tilda Swinton is the ancient one in Doctor Strange.
No, I know that. Like I know who she actually. Do I? At this point, I don't think I know who Tilda Swinton is. But no, yeah, I know who she is. But I always, but she's also kind of like one of the most, in a weird way, like kind of fluid female actors. Because she's like more androgynous. Like if she played like Phasma or if she played the Armorer, I would not have been surprised by that. So
yeah,
that was really okay, interesting.
Even another actress we have yet to see in the show who still needs to pop up is Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah, she's supposed to be here.
Everyone keeps, myself included, everyone keeps forgetting she was announced for the show, but we don't know what she's playing.
I know a lot of people, they think she's going to be playing like a Jedi or something. I actually think she's going to be playing like an Imperial officer. That's what I'm guessing.
Really? Because
maybe
I guess she was going to play a Jedi only because they set that up. So, okay, maybe she's a Jedi, whether we know the character or not. But I do have the general feeling like she would be a good guy or a good woman. One of the good people in the show. For some reason. I might be wrong, but it's just my gut feeling tells me that for some reason.
Also, what if she is a new? This is going to sound weird because this is going way. Okay, this is going way theoretical here. But what if I don't know? Because I forget who was the original holder of the Darksaber.
That before Clone Wars.
Yeah, like the only confirmed Mandalorian Jedi.
Well, usually I can't remember who it is, but usually it's within the royal family of Mandalore.
Is it the Vizsla? Somebody Vizsla?
I think yeah.
Yes, that's in Clone Wars. When we first see the Darksaber, it's pre-Vizsla, voiced by Jon Favreau.
Nice. So that's what I'm thinking is like, once again, tinfoil hat is what happens if we get like another Mandalorian Jedi. I don't know, because. Like there's only canonically, as far as I know, there's only the Vizsla, who's like the only canonical Mandalorian Jedi. I don't know. So like, what if they just create a new character rather than seeing Mace Windu or somebody?
Yeah, that's true.
Tar Vizsla.
Tar Vizsla.
Tar Vizsla. Yep.
That's the first Mandalorian Jedi. That, or maybe she's even like a prisoner alongside with.
Oh yeah,
whatever his name is again.
Grogu?
Mayfeld.
Mayfeld. There you go.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe she's a prisoner and she knows something they don't. I mean, the possibilities are endless, man.
You're right.
I just would not mind seeing I would not mind seeing like a new party member join them. Like a kind of Jedi seer type, not necessarily like combat effective, right? But who is like just with them to train Yoda. I mean, baby Yoda, Grogu. I would not mind that. Like at this point, if they added a third cast member, like consistent cast member, I think that would be fair. I think that would be valid. Like kind of.
Actually, I could also see Jamie Lee Curtis playing like a droid.
Oh.
Like voicing a droid. I don't know why. Like, what's her name now? L3 from Solo. She keeps popping up in my head, but I could see her being like a protocol droid.
Maybe on a bridge.
Yeah. I could see her playing a droid or something. That'd be kind of cool.
I'm also wondering what's going to happen with the future of Mando's ship. Are we getting the Razor Crest 2 or oh man, because
maybe he takes the slave on.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Maybe Boba just stays around on one planet and he's like, you can take my ship.
Oh, well, that kind of plays into my, like, what if he just dropped Boba off on, and Fennec on Tatooine or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I just wanted the armor, like, the slave one is yours. But I'm also, I don't know, I forget, I brought it up as, like, one of my favorite game series. Have y'all played Mass Effect at all? We talked about how that's probably... that like kind of personally ranks higher than Star Wars for me in terms of my like space opera my space opera series, even though it's a video game. But it's like in the second game, like the ship you have from the first game, the Normandy, is like destroyed in like literally the opening cinematic of the game, and it hurts to watch because it's like the super advanced like ship, state of the art, and then it gets like destroyed in the first 5 minutes. They literally have to resurrect the main character, Commander Shepard, like build him almost from the ground up. Like it's. Like, I know it is interesting. So, like, but it was devastating, like, emotionally to watch his ship get blown up as well as his crew. So then watching the Razor Crest get destroyed made me feel that same way. It's just, oh man, he's had that. Like, that's the ship. That is the flagship for the Mandalorian. And now, what are we going to get next? Like,
it's a really good question.
Or who knows? Maybe the Mandalorians themselves will remake him a ship made out of old Mandalorian armor.
A Beskar ship.
Dude, a Beskar ship. If they have enough steel, if they have enough Beskar to build a ship, there's going to be even more questions about.
Yeah, that's true.
The so-called like hard defined material or whatever.
Right.
The rare commodity.
And plus, it's like, what about the foundlings? Who's thinking about the foundlings?
Yeah,
you got Beskar ship. Who's going to army the foundlings? So, actually, that would be. But honestly, if you had a ship where like parts of it were made out of Beskar, or it had freaking cannons with whistling birds in it, I mean,
it'd be the most powerful ship in the galaxy.
Oh man, can we also? Like we're about to end this anyway, but man, when he's walking around the destruction of the Razor Crest, man, he finds.
Oh yeah.
But he also finds that little ball that Grogu was always playing with. It's like, oh.
They did that first scene on purpose. That first scene was all for us to cry when he finds the ball. And it worked.
I do wonder if, like, this is going to sound weird, because, like, it's kind of trope-ish. I wonder if Yoda's going to have a freak-out method, and he uses that to, like, set him down. I mean, like, a freak-out episode, just, like, rack full Baby Yoda. Mm-hmm. And then he uses, like, this thing to, like, I know it's, like, kind of a totem to simmer him down or something.
It doesn't sound weird. Like, the idea is interesting, but I feel like it's one of those things that they could only use it once,
Yeah.
But it is an interesting idea. I would like to see it, like, if he's flipping out in the ship and Mando is infiltrating, so when he gets there, it's kind of dangerous, and he uses the ball. That could work. I would actually like to see that.
Or, I mean, he just rescues him and just gives him the ball. Like that. That's also valid. I'll take that.
Instead of him going like this to Mando, he's like, "Oh, I missed you," and he just force pulls a little ball like. That would be so heartbreaking.
Actually, I'm surprised we didn't talk about it yet. Yeah, Ren, since you brought it up, that opening scene was just cute.
Yes, so adorable.
Because Mando's giggling.
Yeah,
which was I think that's the first time we've actually seen him like laugh.
I think so too.
Like, so that was really interesting. Is how much like this season is like not sporadically, but just like humanized him at like random moments.
Even too, like the shift in tone, like he's just having a little bit of fun, and then all of a sudden the beacon goes off, and he's like, "All right, well, we're here." It's like you can tell, man, he's not ready to leave him. Like he wants Grogu around as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Emotion he's feeling.
I wonder, maybe I didn't understand it, but maybe is that why like he maybe cursed at the beginning of the episode? Is like because he like remember like when he's like Bank Ferric or whatever, like why did he curse at that point?
I think it's because Grogu didn't do exactly what he wanted him to do, but at the same time he used his power. So, and I thought that I was going to bring up that moment because it's like so cute. He's like, no, you did well. Don't feel sad. And oh my god, just so sweet, the purest thing.
Even too, like Grogu. Huh?
Yeah, the ears perking up.
Baby Yoda, man, he melts my heart.
He's safe, guys. He's safe. They're not killing the merch seller.
Knock on wood.
They better not. Oh man. Mm-mm.
Gosh,
I got nothing.
Yeah, me neither. That's why I was asking both of y'all.
Oh wait.
There you go.
Got something. We're good. Yeah, we're good. We're ready.
Right. No, man. I don't know where these. I keep saying it, but I legitimately don't know where these next 2 episodes are going to go. We still haven't seen Thrawn. We still have the Darksaber. They're going to get Mayfeld. We still have Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
And we still got that nice big fight against Mando,
and we still got a Jedi, whoever that Jedi is.
Who do you guys truly think it is? I don't think it's Luke.
You said you don't think?
No, I don't think it's Luke. There's no way.
I don't think it's impossible, but I don't think it's Luke either. Like, whichever Jedi is likely, I don't think Luke is likely. Is he possible? I guess. I'll give it like a 10% chance that it's Luke.
I think that, well, actually, what episode is this based off of? We said A New Hope or not Revenge of the Sith. That's trilogy. I mean, pretty cool. What episode did we say this is after?
Return.
The show? Yeah, the show's after Return to the Jedi.
5 years after Return of the Jedi.
And that's the 3rd?
Episode 6.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm blanket. Okay, so yeah, it could be Luke, because we saw the blue butterflies, and you said that we saw that with Ren as well, or Kylo. So it's like, Luke trained Kylo, so it's legitimately like that there's at least a cameo.
But right now, Kylo is either not born or literally a baby, because this is only 5 years after Return. So Kylo would, Kylo would be very, very young. I think he's born by now, but literally a baby. He can't even walk at this point. But now you brought something interesting up, Andy, because it's established like he's really powerful with the Force at a very young age. So we're all thinking a Jedi, but maybe Baby Yoda is communicating with another baby.
Oh, another Force-sensitive baby?
Yeah. The plot thickens.
Oh, gosh.
I will say this.
Go ahead.
If they want to bring Luke into this show, because they did it very, very well in The Rise of Skywalker. Andy, you even have to admit this. I'm going to make you admit this.
Nope.
Yes. They did really good with that scene with Luke and Leia and their little bit of training on I don't even remember where that planet was, but
Endor.
Was it Endor?
Yeah.
That would have been, yeah, right.
But bring Mark Hamill in, and you could just I don't know how you would do it, but basically
the de-aging thing.
Yeah, the de-aging thing, like they did with.
Well, they did the de-aging thing in that scene, with him and Leia when they were training. Yeah. So to that point, Austin, that is not an issue for me to agree with. That is, I 100% agree. My problem was the kind of how
the film overall.
Well, obviously, but was kind of leaping from Leia being a secret Jedi sort of thing, and I get it, but I feel like they didn't connect those dots well enough for me. I don't know. Maybe I just missed out on a lot.
Fun fact, Andy, if you did not know, the person who actually is portraying Leia in that scene is her actual daughter.
Oh, good. I think I heard that. Actually, I don't think I knew that. I think I might have heard it and forgotten, but that's fair. That makes me feel good.
Who she's actually in the entire sequel trilogy. She plays Connix, I think's her name.
I think yes. She's one of the, yeah, exactly.
Did not know that.
Yeah, no, that's how I would see if they bring Mark Hamill in and do the de-aging thing. That's for me. That's the only way you bring Luke into this film or to the show.
Or you can do the fan casting people I've been calling to and just cast Sebastian Stan in for Luke, which would
bring the Winter Soldier in.
Because I never saw it until I saw the memes on the internet, and I'm like, they do look the same.
Gosh, scary.
I mean, I feel like I don't know how. I feel like Luke is going to cameo. Mark Hamill's going to cameo in some way, in some form, or at least Luke is going to cameo in some way, in some form. I don't know. Like maybe for all I know, they bump into each other, and like Baby Yoda doesn't say that's the Jedi. Like they just. I don't know. Like I feel like they've got to bring him in. Not that I necessarily need him brought in, but it's Star Wars.
Yeah. But the one I do think is most likely is Obi-Wan. I do feel it's Obi-Wan is going to be the one to show up.
Well, wait, but Obi-Wan would be dead. Like 'cause he got.
It's a Force ghost.
Yeah, we did bring up last week about Force ghosts.
Oh yeah, you're right. Although I wouldn't mind. Yeah, if we're talking Force ghosts, I wouldn't mind seeing Liam Neeson back in the series. Qui-Gon Force Ghost.
That would be cool.
I hope we get him in Kenobi, man. Like you can't do the Kenobi show without him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I also think Kenobi could be the one that rescued Baby Yoda. You'd have to do like a lot of explaining when exactly did I save Baby Yoda, where maybe Yoda is the one that took Baby Yoda. So I don't know, Ben, but it feels like out of the possibilities, you could kill two birds with one stone. Give us a reference to Obi-Wan since we're about to see him in this show. And also it is possible that he could be the Jedi that rescued Baby Yoda. Because like Ezra, I also think it's likely, but he's not the one who rescued Baby Yoda.
Well, Ezra and who was the Jedi in, because I haven't played it, in Fallen Order?
Fallen Order, I was about to say, and Cal Kestis, because for all we know, Cal Kestis is also alive. For all we know, he's dead, but there's a possibility he's alive. But he wasn't the one that rescued Baby Yoda, that's for sure. Ahsoka also clearly wasn't the one. So I feel like with Obi-Wan, you could have it serve two purposes.
Gosh, well, in a weird way, I forget. Is Starkiller, from The Force Awakens, is he canon? I mean, okay, yeah, I thought so. Or not The Force Awakens, but Force Unleashed. There we go. Yep. Okay, that's fair. Man, I don't know. I'm loving it.
So, all right, guys. Andy, your favorite part of the episode here. We need to rate this.
All right.
What do you rate this episode?
This is gonna sound weird. I'm gonna drop last week's episode. I'm gonna drop the Ahsoka Tano episode. I'm going to revise my rating, drop it down to a 9.5, and I'm going to give this one a 10. Because my favorite part was definitely just Boba Fett dropping in full regalia, actually, I think my favorite part, despite all of that, despite the action, despite him taking out a ship with a single missile, I think my favorite part was at the end when he says, "No, we haven't completed the contract."
Yeah.
I think that part is when was my favorite part, because it was like, dang, this is a brilliant character moment, but also, despite the fact that there are these two, quote unquote, factions of Mandalorian, that they sync up on the honor code.
Ren.
I was actually going to say the exact same. When Mando comes back from the rubble of the Razor Crest with the spear, and he's like, the deal is done. And Boba Fett's like, no, it's not. I promise you I'd keep the child safe. I will not rest until he's back in your arms safe and sound, until you're back together. That was my favorite moment, because as Andy said, it's a brilliant character moment, but also here's what's going to happen next. They're going to team up, and boom, we're launching right into the next chapter of the story.
I think also just before you, Austin, when Connor said I'm just a simple man, it also kind of concretes that, because all he wanted was the freaking armor. He didn't want to harm, but he didn't necessarily want to harm Mando or the kid. He just wanted his armor, then was going to dip. So simple man.
Yep. Yeah, man. Well, I'm with you, Andy. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. This was for me, man, personally, now the best episode of this series this season, I guess.
Easily. I'd have to reconsider my ranking with respect to the first season, but oh yeah, Ren, what was your rating?
My rating, because of script controversies that I feel just put everything into place, because the script needs to happen, I'm going to give it, which is still a very good rating. I really like the episode. 7.5 out of 10.
What?
Wow. Okay.
It just moves a lot of things into place because it needs to happen. And again, I talked about the things. Mando leaves Baby Yoda alone. He goes too far away, and I'm like, really? You wouldn't do that. Then he picked the jetpack back up. Even the thing with Fennec, which I thought was cool, of her showing her belly, and it's like she's all wired up. I'm like, is Boba Fett an engineer? How does he know how to do that? Since what?
Well, and to be fair, like, you know, I oh gosh, I'm sorry, we gotta do this now. But like, but yeah, like wow, Mando leaving Baby Yoda alone makes sense because he can't enter the Force. You know, he can't enter the Force barrier. But also, the only weapons he had on him were his jetpack and his gun. You know, because he wasn't, which was kind of stupid because he wasn't prepared to fight. You know, like, but he had, you know, whistling birds and guns, so he had no range. You know, so if the dude rolled up on him with a sniper, he could have easily killed either one of them. But for the time being, it's like he couldn't even touch Baby Yoda and evacuate. So it was like kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
I agree with you there, but I just feel especially because of that first scene, I'm like, you're going way too far away to investigate that. Like, he could have hidden behind those rocks that formed like the temple, the vertical rocks. You know, I just feel like he went way too far away. I think the whatever the reward was going to be, I feel like the risk was bigger.
All right,
I can respect that.
See,
it's still a really good grade.
You see, this is how you're supposed to debate. This is how Star Wars fans are supposed to debate, respectfully. Not, no, you're wrong. Oh, how am I wrong? You're wrong. You're wrong.
Oh no, trust me. We're only being civil about this because there were some continents and oceans between us. Like I'm just saying.
We have become mortal enemies from now on,
as one does in the Star Wars fandom.
Well, all right, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of the Talkalorian. As always, I'd like to thank Ren and Andy for being here. And links are in the description below. Make sure you guys go and check them out. And also, I want to make a quick little announcement. This upcoming Monday, if you guys are available, stop on by. I am going to be doing a celebration podcast for my Midwest Cantina. It is 1 year of the podcast, and I have reached over 100 subscribers. Maybe for some people that's not a big thing, but for me, I'm pretty excited. Thank you. And Ren, I know you won't be able to be there, man, but I just want to thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, I love doing this podcasting stuff, man. It's fun. This is a lot of fun. So, but yeah.
Austin, that's going to be Monday, December 7th, is that?
Monday, December 7th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Nice.
So if you guys can stop by, come and check it out. We'll have some fun. I've got 5 guests coming on, and Andy King is going to be one of them. So we're going to have some fun, guys. So with that being said, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll